So I wanted to have a little discussion about purity culture from a man's perspective, because there is a lot of content about what it does to women, and rightly so. Purity culture puts so much pressure on women to dress a certain way, to act a certain way. It shames them incredibly if they lose their virginity. It's so weird and it's so destructive, and this video is not to take anything away from that. There's a lot of amazing content out there for women who have experienced all the harms of purity culture, and if you are a woman who's experienced a lot of this crap and need help working through it, definitely seek out that content, seek out help, because I see the destruction of it in so many different people and just how much it has harmed women over the years. But this video, I really wanted to focus on my experience with it and how it can affect men. Because there's sort of this perception, at least the perception that I have gotten from a lot of people who talk about purity culture is, oh, it's not that bad for men. Men just kind of ignore it. And that is not necessarily true. I was the kind of person growing up in the church. I kind of hit right when, I Kissed Dating Goodbye was a huge thing. I think I was in, like 6th grade, kind of when it was really riding high. And being just how passionate I was about God and not having necessarily the cognitive understanding at that point that, the guy who wrote it was only like 21 when he wrote it. He didn't really have the life experience. He didn't actually really know what he was talking about, but these people that I trusted, these church leaders, said like, this is the thing. I ate it up hook, line, and sinker. I really tried to essentially like live by it. I really believed that if I kind of like followed all these principles of not really dating, of, not lusting, of just like trying to live super pure, that God was just gonna like give me this crazy amazing marriage to this amazing gorgeous woman, and like my life was just gonna be freaking amazing. And I lived out that. Like, I didn't date at all in high school. I didn't actually like ask a girl out on a date until like about a year after I'd graduated high school. And I didn't really know like how to date, how to interact. Honestly, like, I have not had that successful of a dating life. That could be contributed to many factors, but definitely one factor was I didn't ever really have that dating experience in high school when like everybody was figuring it out. So I often feel behind. Like, okay, everybody has had all these experiences dating and I'm just kind of a little bit awkward and don't really understand like the dating game, because I just missed it. I just completely missed it. I was in my own little world trying to live out what I thought was true Christianity. And, that's been painful to kind of try and catch up on that. I've been on plenty of dates since then, but it's been tough. Like, I'm definitely not the best dater. I have a lot more first dates than second dates. It's just kind of how it goes. And because I didn't really develop that and I got very, very used to being alone, sometimes I have a hard time emotionally connecting, having that more emotionally intimate relationships with people, particularly in dating kinds of relationships. It's harder for me to open up and just be that vulnerable and know exactly how to interact. I feel like there's some sort of class that people had of like, okay, this is how you be romantic and this is, how you do this or that. And I just sort of like missed the boat on that. And that's definitely been one of the things that honestly I'm most frustrated, and you might even say bitter, at Christianity about, is that I just completely missed the dating game. And I know, I'm 32. It's by far not too late. I've made great strides in kind of unlearning some of this stuff and getting more comfortable dating, but it's been weird. And I think there's definitely been an element of shame around sex, of course, because that's what purity culture is all about. And even getting, when I am dating somebody, I feel very uncomfortable with any like physical intimacy too, honestly, like, because it was so hammered home, like, to the guys, like, if you have sex with somebody before marriage, or even, and in some circles, like, even if you kiss somebody before like your wedding day, like, you're taking something away from this girl and you're violating her boundaries and you're doing something really, really evil. And like, I really internalized that. So, you know, physical, anything beyond like, you know, giving somebody a hug, it's kind of like feels uncomfortable to me sometimes. And that's obviously that's tough to maintain a relationship while you're kind of like trying to work through some of that, because that's, you know, it's not normal to feel that uncomfortable with like physical touch and stuff. And what's weird is like one of my, if you're familiar with kind of like the 5 love languages kind of thing, like one of my love languages is physical touch. But because I'm so sometimes uncomfortable with that, it's tough to get that and to know like, well, okay, where are those boundaries and like what's comfortable, what's not comfortable, you know, like all that stuff it's weird. It's really kind of, it's stuff that I'm sorting through, trying to improve on, kind of heal from, kind of divorce my brain and my emotions from that really, really controlling, twisted way of being. But it's still there. It's definitely affected my life in huge ways. And it's been tough. I'm not going to say it's been as tough as what like women have experienced in purity culture. And I may well be the minority of men. I think, you know, maybe a lot of men are just like, well, screw it, you know, I don't really care about this. But because I was such a devoted young Christian, I really, really wanted the best for myself and what I believed Christ wanted for me. And so I took it very seriously, and it still affects me years after because, again, I kind of missed some of this stuff and have some of this, these fears and anxieties and stuff so deeply ingrained in me that it's hard to have a healthy relationship even like outside of the church with like just somebody who's normal and enjoy like being a basic human being, enjoying, you know, emotional connection, physical connection, all this stuff. And so if you happen to be a guy like me who really embraced purity culture and feel way behind in life, like leave a comment below, let me know. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. Let's help each other not feel so alone, so isolated in these struggles. Because I know we're not alone. I know talking to my religious trauma coach that I had last year, we had a conversation around this for about an hour. And, you know, what she told me was that there's people in their 40s, in their 50s who still struggle with this kind of stuff. People who are virgins, people who have never had any kind of that, like that physical intimacy. Maybe people who haven't even had a first kiss or something like that because they're so afraid of like screwing up because that's just been so programmed into them. Even if they have left the church years ago, it still kind of haunts them. So like, let me know. Let's have a discussion. Let's talk about this. I would love to know, am I like the anomaly? Are there like tons of guys who feel this way, but we just don't talk about it with each other because we feel like everybody else has it figured out? Let me know in the comments below. If you're a woman watching this video, let me know, you know, what your experience with purity culture is, what you'd say, you know, to men kind of in my position who like really did take this seriously and now are kind of struggling with how to figure it out now that we have left the church. So that's all for this one, guys. If you enjoyed, consider subscribing for more content from a former Christian about religion, about culture, about issues like this, and I will catch you in the next one.